Hi, my name is Ariana Adams, and today I will be doing my research presentation project presentation. Excuse the way I sound. I've been sick for a week, and this is as best as I can get my voice to sound. Um, my project is on ethnic diversity in theater, connecting the world through different forms of communication. And this is for my interdisciplinary class at AUM. My introduction. Over the years, ethnic diversity has had to struggle to become a norm. Through riots, cop shootings, and missing persons, ethnic diversity has become this thing or topic that people fear to talk about. Therefore, I believe that there is a way we can turn the world around, even if it's just for a little bit. By connecting the world through theater and showing how we can all embrace ethnicity, the ethnically diverse uprising, we can start to unravel the hatred started through bad publicity or cultural and ethnical injustices. Theater is no stranger to being the center of connecting weird loves and exploiting them for either profit or entertainment reasons. As the conversations around ethnic diversity fluctuate and change, we start to see we start to see and build some awareness around the world. Take, for instance, modern remakes of old shows made by modernized playwrights. They give us new, fresh perspectives on past events and give us a glimpse of them through ethnic glasses or different visions. With this uprising, we start to see new forms of, we start to see different, different forms of communication such as interpersonal, verbal, nonverbal, and we get to explain how much we have absorbed from other countries and how much we have left to learn. The central features of my paper will be an explanation of both disciplines, theater and communication, ethnic diversity, and my conclusion. My first paragraph, that will include a simple definition of what ethnic diversity is, also has an example with it, and it's of how people view ethnic diversity today. The next paragraph, I will thoroughly discuss my first discipline, which is theater and its components. The paragraph after that will discuss my second discipline, which is communications, while also explaining the different forms of communications and giving examples. The rest of the paper will be me defending my thesis on how the talk about ethnic diversity has changed over the years. My thesis is racially biased people out equality for ethnic diversity, leaving a scar on the world or on how the world views each other. By showing how the rise in ethnic diversity in theater helps connect the world, we begin to heal and embrace equality through theater. Ethnic diversity is defined as the differences between people of many ethnic groups, as well as slight variations in behavior of persons in the same ethnic group that coexist within the greater culture. I stand with this uprising since it not only represents my people, but also is a topic that needs to be equal in the eyes of the government. All different ethnic groups deserve equal treatment as we see fit. Increasing ethnic diversity representation on boards and councils help to delete stereotyped roles on stage and promote equality for everyone. To keep awareness on how to keep the uprising on the uprise on ethnic diversity, we should adjust how we communicate to each other on the matter and think about what we can do to widen the connection. To most of the patrons of the art, ethnic diversity is accepted worldwide without rejection, but not all agree with equality and prefer that the lighter complexion is more graceful on stage. The way that society portrays ethnic diversity in the world today is one of the main reasons why the US has mixed feelings about people from different cultural backgrounds. Judging and outing someone or a group of people out of fear for the unknown is why we don't stand well as a nation today. By shedding some light on why the world has developed this way, we can start to understand not only how it has affected the theater community, but also how we can help spread positivity and then heal the wounds of a divided house. As you know, as Abraham Lincoln has said, a house divided cannot stand. So that's basically what I had to phrase it as. As said by this article that I found from Penn State, an overview of cultural diversity and an overview of cultural diversity can help you become more aware of the dimensions of diversity, your cultural identity, and your attitudes and perceptions. Meaning, it is imperative that not only that we may it is imperative that we not only be more aware of our own attitudes, perceptions, and feelings about ethnic or cultural diversity, but to also learn to communicate on how important it is to embrace changes in our community, especially theater. Parts of the U.S. that are more ethnically inclusive have been in a state of panic due to the increasing number of shootings and of people of color, making it hard for many citizens who aren't documented to feel safe in this world or the so-called land of the free. Now more than ever, immigration has been the biggest impact on the land, and is why the U.S. is growing as a population, because the birth rates are exceeding the death rates, which allows more culturally diverse kids to be born in this world. With the Civil Rights Act of 1964 stating that all places of employment must hire without being discriminatory and provide a safe workplace. It plays an important part in bringing different cultures together to fight for equality and to spread the message through performing newly researched plays on the subject matter. Theater is widely known as a place of employment with many opportunities and well-known celebrities. It's not surprising that the theater industry is sometimes a cruel, old-fashioned place to try and create your own dream when most managements keep choosing from the same list of actors for bigger projects, denying the hard-working talent of new blood to shine and present new imagery. In the past, theater management favored the Caucasian elites from high society who were mostly male. The women were scarce unless called for the script. Broadway and other major theater productions are slowly changing the way it represents diversity as they continue to promote non-traditional casting and create more stories on stage for people of different cultures, keeping the communication line open for new things to come. Non-traditional casting has not been more included in theater, mainly due to the fact that a lot of people in the hiring department who make up a show are white males who envision their stories to the world through black and white lenses, which highlights the fact that there aren't many stories out there for people of color. Theater, to many, is supposed to represent equal opportunity. We experience the world through our senses and gather information, especially when experiencing theater. When I asked what theater meant to one of my theater department professors on campus, they all said that theater is an informant. The way that actors show their experience to audiences and use expressions has the power to change attitudes, even behaviors. It's capable of communicating anything to anyone, depending on the target audience, if I may so. Theater is a living thing. Without the live audiences, and the stage, theater wouldn't exist. So the real question that people ask themselves is, why does when they watch the experience on stage, why does ethnicity have a huge role in changing how we experience theater? If the story and the message were received, who cares where they're from? In my opinion, unless the story that is specifically meant for a set audience doesn't correctly represent the culture, or the production management isn't treating their staff of color fairly, then there shouldn't really be any negativity on stage or in the theater community, period, regarding ethnicity. Communication is my second discipline. Communication can be classified as any form of communication interaction used in everyday life, such as speaking, as presenting, writing, or etc. The relevance of communication is that it is a part of everything we do, such as conversations and interactions with one another, like a phone call or when we give presentations or any platform. It's a gateway skill and discipline that can and should be learned and practiced thoroughly. By learning more about the different types of communication, we learn how to utilize them by looking out for small signs in body language, such as gestures and eye contact, as face to face during our conversations. For instance, when you're talking to someone who is from a different country, it is imperative that you learn some of their customs before going in cold or speaking to them without knowing what you're actually going to do. You can't talk to them like regular friends talk to each other because you don't know this person. Without researching these basic forms of how to communicate with said ethnicity, you might make a mockery of them and insult them without knowing. By learning more about the different types of communications, we learn how to utilize them by looking out for small signs and body languages, such as a shrug or an eye darting across the room, or hand gestures or handshakes. Uh, okay. By learning, as said by this article from NIAB, the way something is said rather than what is said is an important component of nonverbal communication. This includes voice quality, intonation, pitch, stress, emotion, tone, and style of speaking, and communication approval, interest, or the lack of it. To truly be able to understand one another and communicate properly, it is important that we take the time to learn different forms of communication, such as expressing oneself and listening. When someone who doesn't speak much English has to listen out for cues on stage, it makes it rather difficult for them to do so because of the many ways or names we know for one motion or a group of sounds that are unfamiliar to said foreigner. The hardest part of expressing oneself is the fear of being judged, which can cause anxiety. In today's world on stage, no one is safe from ridicule because they chalk it up to that's just how show business is, which is not always the case. As a nation, as a nation of ethnically diverse people for thousands of years, we should know that we aren't the only ones on this earth who have a set way of doing things. Businesses who hire people from different backgrounds have had a hard time talking to them because of the language barrier. Keeping an open mind to possibilities helps gain trust and respect. Body language can help in getting a point across or expressing emotion depending on the context of the conversation. For example, when you smile unnoticeably when thinking about someone, or about something or someone can see that and ask questions. In conclusion, as the world is changing with these elections and racial differences, why can't theater be a place where we forget it all? Yes, we may see some fragments of it on stage as a form of expression, but it doesn't mean we have to take what we see and spread only the negative about it. Theater creates a work of art that deserves to be seen and portrayed by anybody with talent, regardless of background. In conclusion, racially biased people out for equality, for ethnic diversity, leaving a scar on how the world sees each other. We should be able to heal each other by learning about each other and experiencing it on stage through different people who know how to get these playwrights to write in a beautiful manner for people to see it, different people, or to see different people of color interact with each other. Thank you.